So this isn't a sign of our cultural degeneracy at all. Apparently we've decided that the best solution to our social ills is to tear down stone statues. Because that'll solve our problems. Now, it's not that I have any strong affinity for sculptures or busts. I've always been a little freaked out by them, to tell you the truth. But seeing social justice warriors ramp up their militancy by declaring jihad against a bunch of inanimate objects just proves to me that these people don't have a clue about how to really address the existential crisis that's facing our civilization. I'm not even sure they know what the crisis is.
What's the problem?
But they are desperate to do something, and shamelessly likening themselves to the heroes of Normandy or the liberators of Baghdad, earning their Purple Hearts from the shin splints that they got from kicking some carved rock. That was the best idea they could come up with. But if this is the direction we're going to go, destroying monuments and statues of people who did bad things or thought bad things, then the least I'd like to ask for is intellectual consistency. Margaret Sanger was a vile human being. She believed in exterminating lesser human beings, inferior races, and the handicapped. And she set up an organization to do exactly that. Her legacy is the lifeless bodies of tiny innocent infants thrown out in garbage bins. But there she is, immortalized in the Smithsonian. If Robert E. Lee comes down, so must Sanger. And if we're so committed to rooting out and destroying white supremacy for the vacuous idiocy that it is, why are there no protests and riots to remove the ramblings of Charles Darwin from our kids' textbooks and the statues and exhibits that we finance in his honor? Darwin wrote that dark-skinned Africans were closer to apes than Caucasians. Oh, but he was just a product of his time, Darwin's defenders say, oddly not granting that excuse to Confederate generals and Southerners who lived at the exact same time. But if that's the justification, explain how former recruiter and exalted cyclops of the KKK, Democrat Senator Robert Byrd, gets a statue. This is a dude who wrote in 1944, "I shall never fight in the armed forces with a Negro by my side. Rather I should die 1,000 times and see old glory trampled in the dirt, never to rise again, than to see this beloved land of ours become degraded by race mongrels." A throwback to the blackest specimens of the wilds.
Alrighty then.
And this is only the beginning, of course. Alfred Kinsey sexually molested and abused hundreds of infants, toddlers, and kindergartners in disgustingly depraved studies. But no one's setting Indiana University on fire despite it honoring his pervert legacy with an entire institute. Harvey Milk was a child sex predator, but nobody's trying to play Battleship with the USNS Harvey Milk.
Battleship sunk.
So let's make up our minds, shall we? Every human being is fallen and in some degree reflects the sinful spirit of their age. Perhaps we should move towards not building monuments to honor any man, except the only one to have ever lived who is worthy of our honor in every way. Or perhaps we can begin teaching and understanding that monument and statue building can be less about worshiping individuals as flawed, aberrant, and sinful as we are, and more about remembering and acknowledging the part they played in our country's epic struggle to create a more perfect union.